Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the Puck Drops here. I'm not really going to be talking much here. This is the live stream for my radio show. So if you have anything now, you want to comment right now, what you want us to talk about, what you'd like to be talked about, and then anything hockey related, just comment it in the stream now. But I won't reference you guys right now. Just want to let you know this is the first live stream of our radio show. This is a sneak peek for everybody who wants to come on. All right, so you want to do this, right, Tommy?
Yeah.
I'm going to do these topics. Okay. We'll wait till what, 4:15?
Yeah, I say we wait till 4:15.
And then I skip class?
No, don't skip class.
Joking.
I wouldn't.
So I'm pretty much sure that we have everything we want to talk about here.
Okay.
So just wait for this guy to come in. Do you know where he is?
No.
You know?
Maybe something with family came up. Maybe something with. I have a feeling I might have to do something with family that came up.
It'd be nice to tell us now. Does this map tell you anywhere where he is?
No. I don't know if he wants to keep it private or something. I don't know.
Again, guys, remember to type anything on the stream that you'd like during the show that you'd like to be talked about. I'm not really going to talk to you guys, but remember to type anything that you'd like on the hockey stream. Any comments you can comment here on the show, how you think it's going, on anything, and anything you type hockey related, we will talk about. We're waiting for our other co-host, Campbell Donovan. We don't know where he is, which is causing us a lot of stress. But we were originally going to start at 4, but if we don't start at 4, the latest we'll start is 4:15. try to call him again. He's not trying to get in, is he?
So we're gonna see what's up with him.
He's not answering you?
No, I think something with family. I think he had a family. I'm guessing it might have been some sort of emergency
That he couldn't tell us.
Yeah.
That he couldn't tell us?
I don't know. He'll get back to us at some point.
Guys, we'll start in about 14 minutes.
And then afterwards, I'm shutting this computer off when we're done.
And doing what? So, what do you want to talk about? What?
We'll first off talk up with the news or something.
No, now.
Oh, I have nothing now, really.
Hello, Wmsc 29. I know you're here. We have not started our show yet. We're going to start our show at 4:15, so 2:15 for you. And again, as I said earlier, just if you have anything you want to be talked about, we may be able to talk about it. Just type it in the chat and enjoy the show. We'll start in about 11 minutes. So just enjoy the show, and if you want anything, if you have anything you want us to talk about, just type it up. Tommy wants to talk about the Rangers, right, Tommy?
What to talk about right now?
The Rangers?
Maybe.
Tommy, you gonna watch college basketball for the rest of the night?
Probably. I'm gonna do some. Right afterward, I'm going to do some errands.
Got some bagels?
Maybe.
For me? You know what type of bagels, right?
Yeah, I know.
What your dad makes?
Mm-hmm.
Your dad's bagels?
Yeah.
So Tommy, Fan 29 is thinking about talking about the Sabres a lot. Talk about the Sabres, but we're going to mention the firing of the coaches, right? So we will bring up the Sabres. Do you want to bring up how bad they are as an organization?
We can.
Do you want to say that they are the dumpster fire of the National Hockey League?
No, that's what they are.
Do you have an issue with that? In fact, we could bring that up, actually. I think, you know what? I want to bring that up with Jack Edwards. Do you like him?
No, he's an A.
I do. I like him. I think he's great. I was talking to my dad about it today, Tommy, and he said that he thought that he was like, Jack Edwards didn't shame the city of Boston. He just shamed the city of Buffalo. He just shamed the Sabres. What's wrong with it? And I agree. Like, and we'll talk about it, but I don't think that's that much of an issue. I think, yeah, we'll talk about the Sabres, with the ownership and all that. You know, it'd be great to talk about it is Campbell. Where is he?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
So, like what they need to do to finally start contending for the playoffs. What moves? Okay. Nathan, a good thing you're here. Nathan, same thing for the live stream. You just not going to directly acknowledge everyone, but you can just if you have anything you want us to talk about, we can talk about that. Also, so as Fan 29 was saying, Tommy, maybe talk about what Buffalo could do what Buffalo needs to do in order to finally be able to contend for a playoff spot at some point. What moves they'll have to make.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we could talk about that. So Red Wings going on a winning streak. We're going to talk about Bernier, but yeah, if you want to talk about that, just give the comments you want us to talk about.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
Not
definitely.
you. Asking Nathan. Nathan, so you just put stuff you want us to talk about in the stream, and we either will or maybe we'll do another stream. We'll talk about stuff. So yeah, so you can bring up, just comment it. You know what to do. Bernier is tight noise. We'll figure out something.
Let me get everything set up in the meantime, because we're going to start soon.
We got about 6 minutes until we're going to start, guys.
Yeah, I'm guessing Campbell's not coming. I don't know what's going on.
Where is he? What is that?
I don't know.
Did you get an email?
No.
Also, the second half just started between Ohio State and Roberts. Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts has the ball, but they haven't scored a point all second half. And he just airballed it, and then they missed the point. He missed a chance to score. Ohio State has the lead, Tommy.
Ohio State, go ahead.
Ohio State has the lead. Tommy, I'm pretty tired too. I can kind of sense that you're tired. Oh, Oral Roberts just took the lead back. They said 3. I'm really tired too, bro. Oh. We're starting in 3 minutes. Here's something. Some teams are good, but not that good for the playoff spot this year, like Vancouver, Columbus, Philadelphia. Which reasonable trade deadline moves can put them in a playoff spot? That's a great idea. Tommy, we're going to bring that up, okay?
Okay.
Do you know what we're talking about or no? Do you want me to repeat
Trade
it?
deadline moves? Yeah, definitely.
So it's kind of like the question that Josh asked a few months ago, but it's a bit different. A week ago, but it's a few weeks ago, it's a bit different. So there are some teams that are out of the playoffs right now and are a little bit inconsistent, like the Flyers, like the Blue Jackets, like Vancouver. What moves can they make? What trades can they make to be better and contend for a playoff spot?
Are you talking about Vancouver?
Or Columbus, or Philly, or the Rangers,
Columbus.
or any of those teams. So we'll talk about that. I think we're going to go – here's the thing. Tommy, we're going to go the way our list is, but since I'm also reading the comments on the live stream, I'll just pull in with the comment immediately, and we can just do a little hot take there.
All right. You're going to get to start today.
I'm going to get the start. I'm going to be the goaltender in.
No, I say you're starting the show.
Yeah, I'm going to get the start. I'm going to go to start the play. It's a joke. It's a hockey joke. Talk about how I think the Red Wings can use their farm system to lead them to the playoffs. You know, not happen. The Red Wings aren't going to the playoffs, right, Tommy?
Yeah, Red Wings get wrecked.
What about the Rangers? Rangers missed the playoffs.
Ottawa, you suck, get wrecked. Buffalo, you're really trash, get out.
You can add teams to that list. There are more than those 3 teams. Yeah, I think the Rangers are another team like that. I'd say even though they're I'd say Calgary as well would be a team. And I can see the Canadians also. Tom, are you going to watch the game tonight, the Rangers game?
Oh, I almost forgot about that. Maybe.
The Canucks are playing. I might watch some of that. I'm not streaming tonight, though. Because I'm going home, so it's usually a hard thing.
I'm just texting someone real quick.
Is it Campbell Donovan? Oh, you mean next year or maybe the year after that? Oh, okay. That makes sense. We might talk about that. I don't know. We might leave that for like another stream. Los Angeles is up there. Los Angeles might make the. Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean for your comment? Yeah. Although I don't think they'd be buyers at the deadline. I think they still feel like they're too young to be buyers.
All right, we ready?
Is this too loud? We are Avs fan 29. We're already talking about the 9-0 game. Talk about who won the cup, and this is what Nathan says. Talk about who won the. Yeah, that's what it's called. 90.3 Wmsc. That's our radio station. And what happens if we don't say that, Tommy? We get banned. Also, Nathan says we should talk about who won the cup in 2014 and who they played.
Oh, we're not doing that. We already talked. We talked about that weeks ago.
No, it's a joke because he knows that you like the Rangers. He's trolling you. All right, what games are on right now?
Not sure.
Ohio State. Tell me, when are you going back to campus?
Sometime next week.
What day?
Wednesday. Are you ready?
Hold on, I want to put on station.
You ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll give you the countdown. You're going to get to start. All right.
Okay, is it too loud? Is it too loud?
No, I don't hear anything.
All right.
All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Dekes and Dangles on 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, the voice of Montclair State. And we have some great discussions to talk about the National Hockey League and hockey around the world and across America, with all the local teams, like the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils, as well as some playoff races in the North Division and what happens to some of those teams trying to buy and sell in the trade deadline, as well as our forgotten contenders, the 1983 to 1984 New York Islanders, and some news on the current Islanders. But welcome, Tommy. Thomas Bavaro, of course, my co-host. Campbell Donovan is not here today, but we do have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Peter. Thank you for that great introduction, and let's get on to it. So, what do we have going on in hockey, Peter?
Well, we got a few things, a few injuries, but the Bruins' next two games against Buffalo, after they won 4-1 over the Sabres, will be postponed because of positive Buffalo COVID tests.
Or actually, I think it was the Bruins that got COVID protocols. And speaking
the Bruins
of that,
play them though. Okay.
And actually, Bruins, their first opponent is Buffalo, and their next opponent following that is the Islanders. So
that's big. Alexander Galchenyuk is slated to make his Toronto Maple Leafs debut on Friday against Calgary, which is a big game. A big game for Galchenyuk and the Maple Leafs. And for Vancouver, also news in the North Division, the Canucks, a team that are just 2 points behind Montreal with a win on Friday against the Canadiens, will tie them, obviously we're recording this on Friday, but would tie them for the playoff spot, fourth playoff spot behind Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Toronto. The Tanner Pearson Canucks he is out for at least 3 weeks with an upper body injury, and that is a huge hole in their system. Tommy, how do the Canucks find a way to roll four lines and roll their power play now that there's no Elias Pettersson for the foreseeable future, and now no Pearson for a month?
Well, it's the fair question. So Vancouver has had their struggles so far this season. They're 15-6-2, fifth in the North Division. And since you mentioned Vancouver, they recently acquired Jimmy Vesey from the Toronto Maple Leafs. So could that be a boost? Who knows? He has yet to play a game, and I think he's expected to make his debut as we're recording on Friday, actually, tonight at 7 p.m. So possibly, maybe.
That is right. Getting Jimmy Vesey, the former New York Ranger, that could help. That could help Vancouver.
Yeah, and as I was saying, some key players, they shall have to look out for trade during the deadline. So who knows what their trade. But although they have won 3 games in a row, so as we're recording, this could likely change. So
we got 2 big goaltending injuries to talk about on two young, not very successful teams. For the Ottawa Senators, it's Dekes who is out with an injury for the rest of the season. Dekes, the rookie for Ottawa, who sustained an injury in the third period against Vancouver on Wednesday while trying to make a save. He tweaked his leg, and he has a leg injury that's going to sideline him for the rest of the year. So he won't be there. So it's going to be serious. Murray, and it's going to be Gustafsson. Philip Gustafsson, the rookie, would be the backup. So they are really running thin on goaltenders in Ottawa.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For Detroit,
Ottawa, they're just Ottawa.
It's bad year. It's becoming a new sustainability. For Detroit, it's Jonathan Bernier, who's been one of their best players, who was injured making a save against the Dallas Stars on Thursday. And that's big, especially with the few games against the Stars coming up, and how Greiss gave up the 2 goals against Dallas. The Red Wings already have a pretty weak defense. I would fear for the goaltending. I think it wouldn't be a stretch for them to maybe look at to take maybe a goaltender and bring one up from Grand Rapids. Not sure the goalies that are there, but I would think that that's somebody that you could definitely bring up. If they're the Detroit Red Wings, they could absolutely do that. And that's something for sure that is up in the air. There's no question about that.
No, there's absolutely no question. Detroit has been on a decline for quite a while now, for like half a decade, I'm going to say.
Well, they're rebuilding. Half a decade's a stretch. They've been declining the last 3 years, but this is just an unfortunate injury. Jonathan Bernier, hopefully he can get healthy and get back to that hockey team.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. It's a really big loss for Detroit right there. So
we're going to go touch on, as we escape this with the news, we're going to go touch on a game that is polarizing. One of the most polarizing and incredible regular season games you'll see in a long time, because, guys, this isn't going to happen for a long while, and that's the St. Patrick's Day game, the matinee between the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Rangers from Madison Square Garden, a game where the New York Rangers had their coaching staff, I believe they're still out, right, Tommy, for 14 days?
Yeah, so I'll explain what happened. So within about 2 hours before the game was about to play, it was reported that the entire coaching staff would be out for COVID protocols. Now, when I first got the notification, I saw the word lose coaching staff. Like, I thought at first there was a coaching change, but nope, it wasn't that. It turned out the unthinkable happened. Like, David Quinn, David Oliver, Jack Hughes Martin, and the other coach all out for COVID protocols. So some people thought that maybe the game might be canceled, but nope, there was a backup plan that was executed.
So they brought the whole Hartford Wolfpack staff, right? The whole AHL staff. And it was kind of funny, too, because when you think about it, it's not something that you would have extremely expected. And the Rangers pull out a game that they hadn't had since 1986, the largest margin of victory since they beat the Devils in the middle of the 1980s. And what they did was a 9-0 victory against the Philadelphia Flyers. All hands on deck. Game winner was early in the first by Brendan Lemieux. Brendan Lemieux had the feed-through goal under the leg of Brian Elliott. And Tommy, 5 goals allowed by Brian Elliott, 4 goals allowed by Carter Hart.
3 goals.
No, 4. What do you think happened? What predicated this? Because I'm trying to figure this out. What predicated all of this emotion and all of this just coming out in a flurry of shots and goals? How do you think the Rangers were able to come out with a 9-0 game against a really good Flyers team that did not play a back-to-back?
I'll honestly don't know how they won it like that. Like, obviously, if you're going from an NHL team that has a college coach as a head coach, you're going to an AHL coach. So I feel like the coaches, I'm going to explain who they are. So they were replaced by AHL head coach for the Hartford Wolfpack, Chris Kanubak, as well as associate head coach Gord Murphy and associate general manager for the Rangers, Chris Jury. But going back to that, just momentum, it's what I call luck of the Irish.
Well, do you think also it might have been? What is your take? Do you think the Rangers were told to play more strictly and soundly defensively, or were they kind of told, "Hey, just play your game, just go down the ice and play the game. You just play freely, and don't try to turn the puck over, but just don't try to do too much." Do you think they made a tight game where they were really pushing and they got this 9-0 win out of nowhere, or not out of nowhere, but you know what I mean? Or do you think they kind of let them play freely?
I think kind of both to me, but I feel like from the previous game where they lost in overtime to the Flyers, it was I'm going to go with what you said about keep going aggressive, and I think the Rangers took note from that.
Yeah, they didn't seem to be playing that tight defensively, but they also didn't seem to turn the puck over. And again, they still didn't have an enormous amount of dominance in the zone, but it also seemed like that one of those few games they played in New Jersey against the Devils, where they didn't strike fear in your eyes and your hearts when they entered the zone. But once they entered the zone, the puck was going in. The puck was going in. They were making forechecks. And it was just funny. It was that divine intervention, I think, really is a point. And it's a good point, too, because the Flyers had a big power play in the second period when they were down like 3-0 or whatnot, right, Tommy? And
yeah, I think it was 3-0
or 2-0. They lose the draw. It gets pinned to the boards. The Flyers get it back, and they're only holding the puck for 2 seconds. And now it gets shanked. Provorov falls down, and now Zibanejad has a shorthanded breakaway.
Yeah.
The game's basically over at that point.
And speaking of that, it looks like the Flyers, who they lost to, Chris Kunok was their they were actually their former assistant coach for the Flyers, it was their first game coaching in the NHL for the first time since they were let go by the Flyers.
That's probably maybe one of the reasons why they played so good also. You have an idea of how the Flyers system works.
Yeah, it's like
Did he work with Alain Vigneault?
I don't think they worked together. No, like they were let go before Alain came in.
But still some of the system.
I honestly just felt like Alain Vigneault just got outcoached that game by
no question. No question. And Alain Vigneault has won President's Trophies and been to the Stanley Cup Final, but he got outcoached. There's no question about that. So that's a good win for the Rangers, and on Friday they're going to have Washington to deal with, which is
I was going to say, this is not the first time Alain Vigneault's been outcoached. I've seen him with the Rangers before. He's been outcoached many times for as long as I can remember.
You got to give that guy a little credit, though. He brought the Rangers to the Stanley Cup Final.
He did.
No other coach had done since Mike Keenan. But good win by the Rangers. But the Flyers later actually were able to bounce back in another New York sports game we'll talk about now. The Flyers, for the first time in 9 games, showed that yes, New York Islanders, you can lose in regulation in Nassau Coliseum. And it was interesting the way they did it. You saw, Tommy, how they got that 3-0 lead. I kind of felt like there needed to be some resilience. And when the Islanders showed their resilience by coming back and scoring 3 straight goals late in the third period, but then the Flyers saying, hey, we're not done, and scoring that goal in the final 2 minutes, I thought really showed the resilience in the heart of this Philadelphia Flyers team.
Yeah, what I was going to say, when they were up 3-0, it kind of looked like going into the third period, they were relaxed, the Flyers. Until the Islanders score, I was like, oh, yeah, it looks like the Islanders are going to come back for that one. And soon enough, they did. They tied it, and then within less than a minute later, Limbaugh led it 4-3.
I think that was big for them, yeah. And I think that was big for them because that's happened before where the Flyers will get leads and the Islanders will come back and just burn them. And the fact that the Flyers were able to finish it in regulation, I think that was good for their confidence. The fact that the Islanders can find ways to win close games. The Islanders are still a better team, but
They were
you
definitely.
tell me
They
that the
definitely are.
Flyers have that resilience, that they're not just going to blow a lead, that they can get the 3-0 lead and not play great in the third and have all that happen, but they can come back by their own and say, hey, we know how to finish games against good teams.
Yeah, they
That's a
nearly
really
blew
good
the lead.
Islanders team.
I was just going to say, back in the playoffs when they faced the Islanders, the Flyers nearly blew a big lead it was, but then they won in overtime a game too.
Well, remember the Flyers in that series never won a game in regulation.
No, they didn't.
All of the 3 Flyers games that were won in that playoff series were won in overtime. Goals by Myers, by Provorov, and Lawton and Provorov. And those were all shots from the point too. But that is that. So moving on, I thought that was something interesting to go through. And now let's move on to talk about. I wanted to restate. No. I'm just like clearing my throat. I wanted to restate something about the Jimmy Vesey wave, right? So we talked about Jimmy Vesey going to the Canucks. What does he bring to that offense? And also, why do you think Toronto? 3 things. 1, what does he bring to the Leafs? Number 2, or the Canucks. Number 2, why do you think the Leafs let him go? And number 3, what does this mean for the future of Jake Virtanen?
Okay, those are very fair questions. So what Jimmy Vesey going to Vancouver means, it's like he's going to be bringing more depth and more offensive scoring, which I think that's what Vancouver desperately needs. Another reason why Toronto let him go, we're somewhat close to the trade deadline, but we don't. When is that again?
April 14th.
April 14th. Thank you. We're less than a month away, so I feel like Toronto. They were first overall most of the season.
Well, remember when you bring up the trade deadline, just because you made this mistake off of air, and I just wanted to let you know. You didn't make the mistake yet, but I'm just there with it. They did not trade. Jimmy Vesey. They waived.
Yeah, I know.
Jimmy.
They waived him.
Okay. Just I didn't want.
Yeah, I got you, man.
But continue.
But in all seriousness, so Toronto going back, they started like first place, very strong season, but then they struggled a little bit. Like Craig, you saw. I was going to say Craig for a minute. Frederik Andersen struggling. He recently admitted that he was going through an injury, and I feel like maybe keep players like him or Jimmy Vesey. Who else could be Tavares or some other guys maybe. Struggling.
Well, you know what one of their also issues was, and it's funny because he's coming back tonight against Calgary. After the great games they had against Vancouver and the wins at home against Vancouver, they had a setback because they had an injury to one of their muckers and grinders that they signed in free agency. That was Wayne Simmons. So Wayne Simmons has been an injury for quite a bit, but Simmons is coming back against Calgary. This is his comeback. He's coming back for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that was another reason that they were affordable to get rid of Vesey because they were missing Simmons, and now they get him. And Simmons is a net front guy that can score from the wall, but they can also put in front of the net.
I feel like, they really don't need that many players. Like you said with Wayne Simmons, it's like whoever's better can stay, and whoever's struggling, place them on waivers. And I believe that's what Jimmy Vesey has been going through.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good because Vancouver has faced injuries. And now you don't have Pearson. I think you're going to see Vesey a lot on the power play in Vancouver.
Oh, yeah, definitely we will.
A lot on the power play because that number 1 power play usually is JT Miller, Besser, Horvat, Elias Peterson, and Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes, yeah.
Peterson.
Vancouver drafted last year.
Well, 2 years ago. But no Peterson.
Or 2 years.
No Elias Peterson because of injury. Now no Tanner Pearson. And I could see Niels Höglander, who's been one of the star rookies, a young Swede. I could see him, but I think we're going to see a lot of Jimmy Vesey. Now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I want to also, since we're talking about that, we could just kind of jump right in there. let's talk about the North Division, right? The North Division, guys, I don't know, that is the quote-unquote Canadian division. Montreal Canadiens. Here's the division right now. Right now stacks up in the North Division in the National Hockey League.
Yes, and I have
number one, the Toronto Maple Leafs with 19 wins and 9 losses and 2 overtime losses. They've got 40 points, and right behind them is Edmonton with 20 wins and 13 losses and no losses in overtime, also 40 points. They have the second and third best records in the West, a point behind Vegas. And then Winnipeg is in third, 2 points behind Edmonton with 38 points. And in fourth place, 4 points behind the Jets, are the Canadiens, but they're 2 points ahead of Vancouver with 32. 1 point behind Vancouver is in sixth place is Calgary, 31. And then you got 8 points behind the Flames and the Senators, who don't look like they're going anywhere. But on that top 6 side, let's say this. Who do you think, Thomas, wins the division when it's all said and done?
When I think of winning the division, I think it's from the beginning of the season to now. Toronto.
So you think Toronto will find a way with all of their cold play, and they'll find a way to win this division?
Absolutely. I think Toronto's gonna bounce back despite all the struggles they've been going through.
I think most of everybody, if Toronto wins the division, I think most of everybody believes then Edmonton and Winnipeg will be at the 2 and the 3. Just for kicks and giggles, would you put the Jets at 2 or the Oilers at 2?
I would put the Oilers at 2.
I would also put Edmonton at 2.
Back.
They're a bit deeper at that position than the Winnipeg Jets are, especially defensively. I think we'll see another Edmonton-Winnipeg win. I would also agree with Toronto. But now you come to that fourth and final spot in the playoffs. Ottawa pretty much isn't going to get there, but you're looking at a race
Ottawa's going to be dead last.
Yeah, right. You're
in the division, not overall.
You're looking at a race between Vancouver, Calgary, and
Montreal.
The Canadiens. So who gets to that spot? Right now, the Canadiens are 3 points ahead of the Flames and 2 points ahead of the Canucks. The Canadiens on Monday, well, you would have already heard it by now on Monday, but on Friday, playing their final regular season game against the Canucks in the Bell Center in Montreal. So who wins that? Who gets that final spot?
It's very hard between these 3 teams. And from looking at it, I think what you got to look for is a team that has a real experienced coach who's been there before.
Oh, wow.
And he looks like he's going to do it again. Calgary.
You're believing the Flames, the team that right now is in the worst position to do so.
I honestly feel like Calgary could find a way to pull it up.
I mean, the Flames, since Daryl Sutter's been there, they've only lost 1 game. And that was
recently against Edmonton.
Was against the Oilers, and the Flames have not had good play against the Oilers this year. They have really struggled against Edmonton. They haven't won at all in Rogers Place, and they've been 2 out of 3 in the Saddle Dome against the Oilers. It's true. They're going to play 4 more games against Edmonton. I'm going to go with my team. I'm going to go with Vancouver. I think they're going to find a way to get some of this scoring back. No, those 2 games against Ottawa weren't great, but they got the 2 points. They won it overtime and won it a shootout. Obviously, you're going to need a lot more when you're playing the Montreal Canadiens, because the Canadiens have such a good defense. You're talking about Carey Price, but the Canucks, although, as I said, though, they're not going to have the buffer after Friday's game. They're not going to have the buffer with the Canadiens anymore for the rest of the regular season. And what I mean by that is they won't be able to play against Montreal and be like, oh, here we go, we're playing them. We beat them. They don't get any points, and we get points. We just beat them because they're not going to play in the regular season. Again, Montreal will not. I believe they'll play a few more games against Calgary, the Canadiens will. And the Canucks will also play. In fact, the Canucks' final game of the regular season is at home against the Flames, which actually might, depending on what happens in Montreal, might end up being the game to clinch the 4 seed. We'll see. That's all the way in May.
Oh, yeah, but definitely.
That could be something.
All right.
They're all neck and neck. That's, I think, probably the tightest division.
Oh
within play.
definitely.
And you look at points, point-wise.
Absolutely.
And the division leader in that division has the least points out of any other division, because Toronto has 40 points, where the division leader in the East, Washington, has 42. In the West, Vegas has 41. And in the Central, the best team in the league, Tampa Bay, is 44.
That's really impressive.
So it's tightest by far margin. Think about the fact that Ottawa is one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League, but they are only 17 points out of first place in the division.
That's a very interesting statistic.
It seems bad until you start to look at teams. Until you start to look at the disparity of teams in the Central, where you got Detroit and Dallas and Nashville nowhere near jumping distance with Carolina and Chicago, where you look at Vancouver, Calgary, and they're right there, because the point total is so tight and so low.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that's one of those things that.
No doubt about that.
So let's go and talk to. We're going to talk about something that was requested to us earlier, and actually no, before that, excuse me, I forgot to talk about Ralph Krueger. Was fired today by the Buffalo. Well, not today. He was fired a few days ago by the Buffalo Sabres. Before your thoughts, let me say this.
You go first.
There was a controversial play. There was a controversial instance in where he was fired and how he was fired that caused kind of a rift in the organization. And the Buffalo Sabres were playing the New Jersey Devils a few days ago. The New Jersey Devils, who came back to have what looked to be the game-winning goal, 3-2. The Devils were really fighting back the Sabres. The Sabres were in Prudential Center, where the Devils have not been good, and we're getting pucks to the net, doing all these things, and the Devils were finding ways to, block the puck, send it away, do defensive work, and then the Devils iced the puck. New Jersey's team is dead tired. They are all tired from being on the ice for 90-second shifts. They've got Subban out there. They have Vatanen out there. It's a very tired unit. Or excuse me, Kulikov, not Vatanen, but everyone is tired. And Ralph Krueger calls a timeout with his team down a goal. You usually want to call a timeout so you can get your play going. But there's no reason to call a timeout because your team is dead tired. The other opponent is dead tired. Now,
no, definitely.
Here's the thing. They still have to, with an icing, you have to have the same players that you had out before playing. They still have to have the same amount of players. They couldn't make a change, but because Buffalo called a timeout, those players could drink the Gatorade, they could take a breather, they could hear some advice from their coaches, they could really just rest. Where if he would have said, no, let's go, let's drop the puck, they would have any time to rest, and maybe a fatigued defenseman, possibly, there could have been a fatigued defenseman that just went down and the puck slid into the net and tied the game for the Sabres against a team that they have dominated over the last few years. It's a mental lapse in judgment. And I think that's the straw that broke the Buffalo Sabres back, because it's firing for Ralph Krueger, a guy that they thought that was going to establish great culture with the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, yeah,
it's
definitely.
A bit controversial for some of how he's treated some of his players softly, but as that was what's said, obviously nothing official there, but you just look at it, Tommy, and you go, it's not really Ralph Krueger's fault.
No, it isn't.
It's not Krueger's fault. Was he the best coach in the world? No, but he wasn't the worst coach in the world either. It's the organization's fault here. This organization needs to completely rebuild, and here's their problem. New Jersey, Detroit, even Ottawa, terrible teams. They do not have a team identity. Do you know what they have?
Absolutely.
Do you know what they have?
What?
An organizational identity.
Oh yeah,
They
they're
know what
best
their
known
organization is. So the Red Wings want they want a power play and they want puck movement with solid North American defensive play, as in not Euro puck, just dump it in, chase, hit.
No,
Do that.
absolutely.
The Devils want to move the puck up the ice and move it fast. The Senators eventually want to get a team that can go all through 4 lines and just a really mobile defensive core. You know, they have team identity. Their teams aren't good, but they have an idea of or organizational identity at least. Actually, those are team identities. But, you know, they have an organization. They know how they want to play. They know the accountability of their hockey teams have to have, and they get general managers get how you say what you will about Eugene Melnyk, but they understand and they get how it needs to win. They don't have the pieces to win yet, but they're willing to. I don't know what the organizational identity of Buffalo is. I have no idea. Their organization, and this is just our opinion. This is not the station's. This is our personal opinion, but I don't know what the Buffalo Sabres organization is doing, Tommy.
No, I don't know either. And I feel like this is all on the ownership, the Bakulas,
Absolutely.
Kim and Terry and Kim. It's like their refusals to make necessary changes when they need to makes them look weak and afraid of changes. And you know what happens when you don't make changes? It's like the league eats you for breakfast.
Well, you know what happens? The Bills. And here's what I mean by that. They did this same thing with the Buffalo Bills football team. And they didn't let them make their own decisions. They just stood in and kept on trying to nitpick and get their own guys, and the Buffalo Bills missed the playoffs day in and day out, and it didn't matter. Well, they stepped away, and they let the football people do their work, and the Bills are rebuild. They're the top team in the AFC East by a long shot.
Oh, yeah,
They're
definitely.
one of the top 5 teams in the league expected to win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time
That's a
in
very good
franchise
point
history.
right
This is what they have to do with the Buffalo Sabres. Now, I've heard people say to me, hey, why don't they go and get a guy like an experienced guy, like a Lou Lamoriello or one of those experienced coaches? You don't even need to get experience
you need to get
age-wise.
someone who's smart, who wants to
Exactly.
do the
You need to let these hockey guys do their job. You need
Exactly.
The first thing is you don't even need. I don't think you need to hit a home run with the coach personally, because they don't draft the best players in the world, but they draft really good character guys that just can't stand it in Buffalo, like Jack Eichel and Rasmus Ristolainen and Rasmus Dahlin is voicing his displeasure, as well as Taylor Hall and Eric Stahl. They draft good character guys. They take good character guys, and they have good coaching. Their problem is they need to hit a home run with the general manager.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Also, what I would do here with the general manager, and I'll let you talk this, but a lot of teams do this. For some reason, Buffalo hasn't. Is I would do what the Rangers do, and the fact is they got a general manager, but instead of saying, okay, we got our general manager, this is how we're going to run the team, they say, we want another guy that's just as experienced to be our president of hockey operations.
Oh, yeah, for
because
sure.
They've got Jeff Gorton and they've got John Davidson. So I would get a president of hockey operations and a general manager. And I'm going to fly it right to you for what you think the Sabres should do to be able to make the playoffs in a few years. And I think they've tried drafting skilled offensive players. I think that they should try to draft a team kind of like Arizona, where they've got good young skilled players and guys that can shoot the puck, but really just try to be that defensive stalwart that nobody wants to play against. Get a general manager, get a coach that preaches defensive hockey. In fact, Tortorella wouldn't be a bad idea if he gets fired from Columbus, and just draft a bunch of great defensive hockey players and get this team to be a bump and grind and get a star goaltender. And I would think the Sabres could do well as a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, but they lock down and they hit you in the mouth. What do you think the Sabres should do in order to get to a playoff spot in the future?
I actually wanted to say something similar to what you said. So not just have a general manager, but if you're going to have a general manager, you need to have someone who's experienced or more experienced and more into hockey. And the same thing, like you said, here's what the Sabres should do. for what you said with the Bills earlier, good. But you want to do it further, similar? Go further. Like, hire a separate chief executive officer, also known as CEO. Hire a separate president of hockey operations. Hire a very advanced, a really great general manager, and make this all into boom. With the right people, you just hire
Ron Hextall would have been a good.
They can do it right.
Ron Hextall would have been a really good hire for Buffalo, but he is not there anymore, obviously, because
he's in Seattle.
Pittsburgh. No, Pittsburgh.
Ron Francis, did you?
I said Ron Hextall.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ron Francis. Excuse me.
Ron Francis as well. Ron Francis as well is in Seattle. Another good point. But yes, he is also in the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they'll have to figure out something. But team identity, what do you get for? How do you want your hockey team to play?
Are you talking about for the Sabres or just any team?
For Buffalo.
For Buffalo, if you want to have, the Pagulas, they may be great owners in the NFL, but if they want to do the same thing for the NHL, like I said, you got to hire the right people and let them do their job.
No, Tommy, you're missing.
Oh, the
team identity. No, team identity. All right, I'll explain. Do you want a team that's going to score a lot of goals? Do you want a Euro puck style where you got a lot of European players that just pass the puck and it's very puck possession? Do you want to dump and chase? Do you want a hit in the mouth? Do you want a game where the team maybe doesn't have the best players in the world, but you've got an all-star goalie like Dominic Hasek-esque? Like what? How do you want your Buffalo team? What's your team identity?
You want to get players that learn how to play and score a lot.
Okay, so you want? So I'm saying my Buffalo Sabres are gonna hit you in the mouth, and they're gonna play incredible defense and stop you and stone you. They're not gonna score a lot of goals, but they're gonna trap you. Okay, so you want a Buffalo Sabres team that's gonna score a ton of goals. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Again, if you want that, that's fine. But once again, you're going to have to hire the right people in order to do that, as you said before.
Exactly.
You're going to have to hire the right organizational people.
And just take it back to the Pagulas for a second. You know how you were saying they're great owners in the NFL and they seem to be bad in the NHL? It kind of reminds me, and I might be going off topic. You ever heard the Batman villain Two-Face? That's what they kind of.
Well, no, you know who they're like. You know who they're like besides bringing cartoon characters in. Again, this is our opinion, not the station's. The owner of the New York Rangers, and the New York.
Okay, fair enough.
Think about it, right? He doesn't get involved with the hockey people, lets the hockey guys do this job. He's actually been out of it with the Knicks, but usually, James Dolan getting involved with what the Knicks want to do and not letting the basketball people do what they want to do? Very simple.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mets ownership.
You just got to have the right people and right owners.
The old Mets ownership was like this as well.
The Wilpons.
You're right? If you let these, I get that you bought the team and you want to be a part. You want to seem like you're doing something. Well, you will be remembered if they win championships, but you'll also be remembered if they don't. You don't want to be the guy that's always remembered for just crushing a team. Help by not helping.
Oh yeah,
help
definitely.
By not helping. Don't get involved. Let the hockey people do their jobs. Okay.
Exactly. Let's
moving on. So now we kind of talked about this the last time, but this was also brought up by people off air, and I wanted to bring this up.
What is it?
We talked about last time a few weeks ago on the idea of what if a hockey team? What are some hockey teams that are right now struggling and inconsistent, and how could they play to get back into the playoff race and get some good win streaks going? We're kind of going. Well, we're not doing that argument, but we're kind of going to argue basically the same thing, but we're going to put a different. We're going to put a different spin on it, and here's what it is.
What is it?
There are a few teams that are good this year in the regular season, but they're inconsistent, but they're just out of it. And
I know a good one.
Columbus, the Rangers, Vancouver, Philadelphia, Dallas, yes, Montreal, Calgary. Teams, Montreal's in a playoff spot, but not by much, and they haven't been playing good hockey.
I want to say, I think Dallas is the one that got them the most.
So, yes, Dallas is another one. I want to say Nashville, but I really feel like they're in the decline. I think Columbus is a big benefactor of that. But here's what we're kind of going to argue here: what trade moves can be made by these teams to get in? And we'll do only 3 teams because we're not going to have a ton of time. So we'll do only 3 teams. We're going to say Columbus, the Flyers, and the Canucks. So we'll start with the Blue Jackets. What trade move, either for a player or if you don't know a specific player, a type of player, do you think? We'll start with the Blue Jackets. Can the Blue Jackets make? And right now, the Blue Jackets sit 2 points behind the playoff spot that's held by Chicago. They have 31 points left, and they're 5 points ahead of Nashville. What can Columbus do right now in the trade deadline to try to get, or trade now to try to get into the playoffs? What move could they make to help their team? Because we got Patrick Laine, and they got Roslovic. What do you think? What move do you think could put them over the top?
I think some moves that they could do is it's kind of a hard one right there, honestly, from looking at their roster. I mean, I feel like the most valuable player they have right now has to be Atkinson.
Well, not trading a player away, but trading for a player. So who do you think they could get? And if there's not a player you specifically know of, you could kind of say what type of player.
I say like either goaltending or defenseman, something like that.
Okay, so if there's a defenseman, would there be a specific guy you think that they could go reach for on a weak team, maybe?
It can go. I think it depends, honestly, but yeah.
You know who might be good for them? Who I think actually would fit them well? Rasmus Ristolainen, who has said years and years he wants to get out of Buffalo. He's a good offensive defenseman. In fact, that's a great idea. I think I would agree with you. I think Ristolainen. I think Eichel would be too steep a price. You'd probably end up having to trade Cam Atkinson. I think Ristolainen would make a lot of sense. You could put him on the power play to quarterback a power play as a defenseman. He could play a lot of minutes as a defenseman. He could help Seth Jones, who scored the overtime winner the other night against Carolina. I think it would make a lot of sense for Columbus there. So I would agree with you. I would disagree with the goaltender because you already have Jonas Korpisalo. You already have Elvis Merzlikins. I don't think there's a real need for a goaltender, but I would agree with the defenseman. I think Ristolainen would be a perfect fit for them. All right, my Canucks. Where do you go there?
Well, as we were saying earlier, kind of similar to Columbus, but I think you need to go more offensively and defensively.
I think you go straight up defense here, and I think Matthias Ekholm could be a guy from the Nashville Predators. They would have to trade a lot. Obviously, the Virtanen DeBrusk, we've been hearing that all year long. We don't know if that'll happen. That would be good, too. That could help their offense. But I think as much as I love DeBrusk, I think I'd rather take Ekholm because Vancouver needs an experienced defenseman. So if you could take an experienced defenseman like Ekholm who can still score goals, I think that could really push them over the edge. They do need more offensive depth. They might need to get another offensive player just if VC doesn't work out. But then again, they have good guys from Utica if they want to get them from the American Hockey League, even though they would have to take 2 weeks to get to Vancouver because of Utica's in New York State and the whole COVID protocol from America to Canada. So they have to wait for that. But I think Matthias Ekholm would be a good fit. Who do you think? So you're thinking offense for Vancouver?
Yeah, I think more offense.
Where would you go? Winger, center, and what? And who would you try to trade for?
I'd say I go winger.
And who would you trade for?
Do you have any examples of wingers?
Trying to think of some bad teams. Possibly you could go for Fabry with Detroit. You could go for Jeff Skinner with Buffalo.
I would go with Jeff Skinner.
I think that'd be a good fit as well. I think Skinner would fit well with Buffalo. But Skinner is being paid a lot of money by the Sabres.
For sure.
I think, though, if the Red Wings are if they don't believe that they want to keep Fabry, I think Fabry could be a guy that the way he's played this season, last season, I think you could get a lot more for Fabry than he's typically worth, which could be could be extremely interesting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For Robbie Fabry. Last one, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Okay. Wow, so many to think of. So they have great goaltending. They really, or actually,
Well,
take
Brian
that back.
Elliott is little
I forgot.
too,
You know
too
what?
much to
Take
be
that
decided.
back. Backup goaltender like Brian Elliott. Yeah, that's the guy. I feel
So
like that's
you
who
would
they should
replace
trade.
Brian Elliott. Okay. I
Trying to think
know
who else.
defensively, again, I know defensively they do need more help. But I just feel like this offense, I feel like they just need just somebody, a lightning rod on that offensive team that could just, I think they need a goal scorer.
Oh yeah,
Just a
definitely.
genuine goal scorer. Doesn't have to play first line, but second line, like, I feel like they're in a position kind of like the Bruins, even though the Bruins were on top of the division at that point in 2019, when they went and got Charlie Coyle, a guy that could score goals, but wasn't like the big goal scorer on his team. So I think they need like a guy who plays on the second line on a bad team, but could be a goal scorer. Fabry is tempting, but I don't know how well he fit. I think you need like a really big time goal scorer. So I'm thinking of all the bad teams and on where they could get players. Ricard Raquel. Raquel. Oh, that would be a perfect fit. You know who he is, right? Anaheim Ducks.
Oh yeah, Anaheim,
Swedish winger. I think he'd be sensational for the Flyers. They've made a few trades with Anaheim over the years. I think Ricard Raquel's a guy who's had a down season. He plays on the second line with Anaheim, but he's not extremely young where they want him on the team. He's a bit older. I think the Ducks could get some good picks and prospects for him, and I think Raquel would be good for Philadelphia since it's an American team, trading an American team. He could come in and impact the team immediately. He'd be a good goal scorer for them. Definitely, and for Ricard Raquel, I think that's a guy that he scored a ton of goals in his career. I think it fits well for the Flyers. I think they, out of all the teams, Ristolainen to Columbus, home to Vancouver, I think Raquel to Philadelphia would be even more of an astounding move because of what that would mean for the team. Just a goal scorer, get the puck in the net, all of those different things. It's just that type of play. All right, let's do 3 stars and our Monday predictions, and then we'll get to forgotten contenders. Just that type of player is what I meant to say. But so here's how we do 3 stars. So we talk about the 3 players this week that really meant that meant the most to us. This whole week that you felt were, you know what? We can kind of skip 3 stars. Let's do NHL predictions for Monday.
Yeah, let's do predictions.
It took a little bit too long. But anyway, here we go. So Philadelphia
Monday.
And the Islanders.
Okay.
I say the Flyers win. Giroux 4-3.
Okay. I say the Islanders win 4-3. Wallstrom.
Oh, wow.
In overtime.
Blues win 5-2 in Vegas. Game winner, Perron.
I'll go with the Golden Knights. 4-2, Mark Stone.
Okay. Calgary against Ottawa. Flames 5, Senators 1. Game winner.
All right.
Good draw.
Flames 4-0. Game winner. Give me 1 second. Hold on a minute. Aho. Wait, did I say that right?
Ah.
No. Sorry. I'm looking at the wrong guy.
You look at Carolina.
Good shot.
Chuck? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Columbus and Carolina. Hurricanes win 3-2 in overtime. And it's going to be terrifying.
I'm going with Carolina. 3-2. Game winner. Sebastian Aho.
Oh, Sebastian Aho. Oh, okay. Canadians and Oilers. Oilers win 4-2. Game winner. I'm going to go with a weird one here. Nathan Hash.
Okay. Oilers 3-1. McDavid.
Okay. Rangers and Sabres. 5-3. Game winner. Strome. Rangers.
Okay. Rangers 3 to. I know what I'm thinking. Rangers 4-2. I'm thinking of a good game winner. Fox.
Coyotes 4, Avalanche 3. Game winner, Clayton Keller.
I'm going with the Avalanche 4-1. Game winner. Give me 1 sec here. Give me 1 minute. McDonald.
Oh, the defenseman.
Actually, take that back. Taves.
Another defenseman. Okay.
Between those two.
Sharks and Kings. Well, Taves. Okay. Sharks and Kings from the Shark Tank. Kings win 3-2 in overtime. Game winner, you follow.
Kings 3-0. Kopitar.
Okay. Minnesota 5-4 in a shootout over the Anaheim Ducks. The game winner is going to be Kirill Kaprizov.
Minnesota Wild 4-1. Nick Bonito.
Vancouver hosting the Jets, and the Canucks will shoot down Winnipeg 6-3. Game winner, Bo Horvat.
And I'm going with the Jets 4-0. Or actually, you don't know. 4-1. Connor.
Connor? Okay. Remember, Vancouver has not won at home against Winnipeg all year long. So that's a big thing on them. All right, forgotten contenders. So we go to the 1983 to 1984 forgotten contenders, the New York Islanders. And the New York Islanders, this was a team that had gone to 4 straight Stanley Cup finals previously. You want to read out the stats quickly, Tommy?
Sure. So the stats, many Islanders know this by now, or have known since the dynasty began, I should say. So they were led by President and General Manager Bill Torrey, head coach Al Arbor, and team captain Dennis Potvin. Now, note to this one, there were no alternative captains, I believe, in their dynasty. So goals were led by Mike Bossy at 51, Brian Trottier with 71 assists, Mike Bossy with 118 points. And they were first in the Patrick division, first in the Wales Conference. The record overall was 50, 26, and 4. Goals for 357 and goals against 269. And they were considered as Wales Conference champions and Patrick Division champions.
Yes, absolutely a great team. A 50, 26, and 4, 104-point record. 51st in the NHL's Patrick Division, and they were one of the absolute best teams in the NHL. They had won 4 straight Stanley Cup finals against the Flyers, against Minnesota, the Vancouver Canucks, and they had recently, the year before, just dispatched the young and hungry Edmonton Oilers. They were looking for their 5th straight Stanley Cup final, something that hadn't been reached since the previous decade when the Canadians had that. They would have made them a true NHL all-time super dynasty. Their roster, Bruce Affleck, the all-time goal scorer, Mike Bossy, Bob Bourne, Paul Boucher, Billy Carroll, Gord Dineen, Pat Flatley, Greg Gilbert, Clark Gillis, good player, Butch Goring, who came in a trade from L.A. in the late 1970s and was still there, Mats Hallen, Kelly Rudy, Tomas Jonsson, Andres Kaller, Pat LaFontaine, the rookie, who was drafted in the draft third overall, Gord Lane, Dave Langevin, Garth McEwen, Mike McEwen, Ronald McLanson, Wayne Merrick, Kenny Morrow, Bob Nystrom, Stefan Persson, the captain Dennis Potvin, Darcy Rieger, future Vancouver Canuck in his own right, Billy Smith, one of the great goaltenders of all time, Brent Sutter, Dwayne Sutter, again, the Sutter brothers, talked about them last week, John Tonelli, and Brian Trottier. A lot of the straight quarters. Very, very experienced older team. Mike Bossy leading the way with 51 goals and 67 points, an astonishing 118 points, but with 40 goals and 71 assists, not close behind with Brian Trottier, also the highest scoring year of his career with 85 points and 22 goals and 63 assists was the captain, Dennis Potvin. Okay, so the first in the division semifinals, they played the team in the first round that the Islanders had come to dominate, the New York Rangers. And, Tommy, the Rangers kind of fought a little well, but again, as we talked about last week, the Rangers were in the midst of a rebuild. They had an agonizing loss the previous year to the Islanders, and it kept on going 3-2 in the semifinals of their division. And the first round, Islanders dispatched their inter-city rivals. So pretty much you want to read the games and scores, you can go there.
Yep, I'm just getting them up. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, there we go. So Islanders faced the Rangers in round 1. So the first game, it was 4-1 Islanders. Then game 2, 3-0 Rangers. Game 3, 7-2 Rangers. Game 4, the Islanders, 4-1. And then game 5, Islanders finish it in overtime, 3-2.
That was kind of the and that was to win it and to put it away. And that was kind of one of those series where the Rangers got a bit of some hope, and then it just kind of flickered out because, yes, you scored 7 goals in the Islanders, but you're a rebuilding Ranger team, and this team has gone to 4 straight Stanley Cup Finals and won every single one of them. And so the Islanders dispatched them, and then they were like, okay, so let's get to the part that really matters for us, right? Let's get to division final. And they met a rival Washington Capital team, which the Capitals, they had a rookie leader in Dale Hunter. They've gone around and gotten some great young defensemen and forwards of their own. They were a very gritty team, and they scored a good amount of goals, getting to the second round for the first time in their history in this division. And so it's the Caps and the Islanders, and sayonara for the Caps. Not that much. They weren't able to score a lot of goals, and the Islanders just kept it coming because you got Mike Bossy on your hockey team, Brian Trottier, Jottelli, and Nystrom. They're just looking at the Stanley Cup at this point, and it was really just domination by the Islanders. If you want to read those scores, Tom, you can as well in the division.
We're going to do this quick. So Capitals 3-2, game 1. Game 2, Islanders in overtime, 5-2. Game 3, Islanders win 3-1. Game 4, Islanders won 5-2. And game 5, Islanders win 5-3.
Get to the conference finals, and they the Montreal Canadiens, who had not gone to the Stanley Cup final in the 1980s, but they were looking for something. They had a young goaltender in the prospects who wasn't playing, Patrick Waugh. They had a young team, but too young because in the rookie year of Chris Chelios, Montreal was not there yet, not ready yet. The Islanders were a sizzling veteran team. They won the conference finals, a 6-game series, big time, just lasting through on the Canadiens, and all signs pointed to the Stanley Cup final and to the Stanley Cup for the 5th time in Nassau Coliseum in their final Stanley Cup final visit to this date. But actually, Tommy, if you can quickly read those scores too, if you want.
I'll do this quickly. So, you know what? I'm just going to say.
If you don't want to, okay, never mind.
You know
but anyway, they won 6 games.
Anyway,
they won 6 games over the Canadiens, and they get to the Stanley Cup final. They play a team they played last time. They play Edmonton. Edmonton Oilers, a young hockey team that had really scored an incredible amount of goals, but in the regular season. But they're told, you're the Oilers. You're playing the Islanders, the veteran Islanders. Are you really going to be able to get them with defense? Yes, they did. They scored all of the goals, and they hit and checked out Bossy. They checked out Trottier. They checked out Tonelli, Nystrom. Potvin only scored a few. It was not much of an issue for Edmonton. They rolled through. Grant Fuhr easily was the better goaltender than Billy Smith. And the Islanders were knocked out, and they lost in 5 games. Edmonton, who had the better record in the season as well, they got the President's Trophy champions, although that wasn't a thing at that time. So the Oilers lifted their first Stanley Cup in franchise history in Rexall Place. And the Conn Smythe Trophy, what?
Belongs to Mark Messier, gets the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Believe it or not to Wayne Gretzky, but to Mark Messier, he was the best player by far in that series. And the Oilers, they knocked down the Islanders a few pegs. The Islanders' last Stanley Cup final appearance. And it also, the Islanders players have said on interviews after, like a few years ago, they said, hey, we were just so tired. We had played all the 4 Stanley Cup finals and everything, and it was just, we were old guys. They were younger. They wanted it more than us, and they just cooked us. And they did. The Oilers did. The Oilers
Fair enough.
had what
Fair and square.
the Canadians did not, and they won their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. All right, so next week for Dekes and Dangles, we will have the 1983 to 84 Edmonton Oilers. Or 1982 to 83, excuse me. 1982 to 83 Edmonton Oilers.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter, for a great episode. We hope all of you who listen, we hope everybody listened to another episode of Dekes and Dangles here in 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey. We'll be back next week with some more hockey talk. Thank you, Peter, again, and have a great week, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this, and you'll enjoy next week's episode as well. Happy hockey, everybody.
Okay.
All right, guys. So, Alexis, I'm not going to stream the Vancouver and the Montreal game at all. I'm not streaming anything else tonight. It's one of the few Vancouver games I'm not streaming. So I will definitely check up on it, but I'm not going to stream it. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern time for Michigan and Texas Southern, and then I think that the Dallas Stars Detroit Red Wings game as well. All right, Detroit Red Wings game as well. All right. Why? Because I have to go home later, and I also have class, and I have to pack, and I also want to do some homework stuff. I have a busy. But I will see you tomorrow. So, good night, everybody. Happy hockey, everybody.